Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I'm back with another video, and today we are going to be doing our movie review for Kong Skull Island. Now, just so you guys know, I won't be talking spoilers at the beginning, but we will eventually get to a point where we will talk spoilers. The reason why I've got a guest with me today is because King Kong has a history with our family, obviously, just as much as I'm a big monster fan. My dad here, actually, we went to go see Kong Skull Island together, and you were in the 1976 remake.
That's correct.
He actually had a scene towards the end. He was one of the extras in the giant crowd. Talk about that.
Yeah, that obviously they were filming that at the World Trade Towers, and I checked the papers that afternoon, and they happened to be asking for extras to show up that evening for the movie. So friends and I went down there, and we just hung out, and they told us, go here, go there. When we say go, you rush towards the fence and scream, and they had several different scenes. And then there was one scene in there where they told us, one of you, I want you to run forward and climb up the ladder and get on top of Kong. Unfortunately, that scene was deleted, but you do see me running towards the Kong in the back. And it's kind of funny because that, I worked at the World Trade Towers, and at that same entrance many years later, I was there again for a different situation.
Yeah, obviously we were talking that my dad is a 9/11 survivor. And I know that it's kind of hard for you to talk about, but
yeah, unfortunately, that was a difficult time. I've gotten over that situation, but it was a tough time, and it's kind of funny that here I'm in a movie many years before, and then I'm again on public TV. Running down the street after the towers collapsed. I was actually in the towers that day. But that's another story unto itself.
Yeah, we can talk about it another time. But as for the movie, King Kong obviously has, it's kind of part of cinema history in so many ways. So Kong Skull Island, we went to go see it, and we were actually really excited because we wanted to see this big giant ape, tear stuff up, and sure enough, this movie actually does deliver in that. There's a lot of action, a lot of kind of like like B movies sometimes have those cheap scares and stuff like that. This movie does have a lot of that. It has a lot of A-list actors with the plot is kind of all right. I mean, you got Samuel L. Jackson, you've got John Goodman. You have Brie Larson, who is, so it's pretty much we've got Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, and, whomever else they can get together. Oh, and Tom Hiddleston. We have Loki, all in, one. It's kind of like they got, everybody from Marvel, hey, let's get together and let's make, King Kong. But they deliver. They really do show off their acting chops in so many different ways. The movie almost feels like Apocalypse Now with giant monsters, with a lot of explosions, a lot of fire, the music of the 70s, because the movie does take place in the 1970s. That's not really a spoiler, so to speak. From what you can probably see in the trailers, King Kong is much larger than previous standalone King Kong films, which actually is a good thing. I liked how big he was. What did you think of how they portrayed him in the movie without giving too much away?
Well, without giving too much away, he was quite large, compared to the Kongs in the past, and your first introduction to him in the movie, it is an action moment, and from that point on, it's an action moment throughout the entire movie. It's definitely a guy flick. Definitely, You're going to be there, and you are going to be yes. Okay, let's go, and you're gonna enjoy that part till the very end.
It almost like the movie, it only slowed down when it needed to slow down, but for the most part, it took the first half an hour to really get started. It took a lot of time, introducing everybody, but then once they actually get to the island, it is nonstop, like you're literally on the edge of your seat. Like, all right, are we going to slow down at all? Are we going to slow down? I mean, there's almost no moments where the movie slows down. I mean, they introduce John C. Reilly's character, and I actually really liked his character in the movie for a lot of reasons that I'll get to in the spoiler section. Just kind of like what they did and how they progressed with him. And at first I thought, okay, well now the movie's going to start getting funny, and actually no, he himself is a humorous actor, but at the same time the movie like took itself seriously in almost a way, like not so much like serious, like dark, like The Dark Knight, but more like that it just went with what was going on in the movie. Like, okay, we're moving on from here to there, and this is what we need to do, and there's a lot of setup for for future installments, and it does deliver for a lot. If you're a guy and you like action movies, you like big monsters, this movie definitely delivers. I definitely do recommend seeing it. So at this point now, we are going to start talking spoilers. There's a lot to spoil, and a lot of things that we can start talking about. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is John C. Reilly's character. Is that he, right in the beginning of the movie, he's the guy in World War II that here he's like, he sees King Kong like right at the opening credits, and he's the guy they end the movie with. I thought that was kind of cool that like they start with him, they get back to him because he's on the island, and they end the movie with him finally coming home. And I thought that was really like kind of like a for like an old war guy, to go through that and then come home was like probably like it was like a very emotional part.
Yeah, to get the story, he's a World War II. They're having a fight in the skies, the Japanese and him. They both crash land on the island, and in the very beginning of the movie, you meet King Kong.
And he is huge.
And he is
huge.
And then the scene disappears, and then we're off to Vietnam. And a different scene, which we'll get into in a second.
Then they actually get to the island, and when they do, it's like, they do the whole setup with like getting everybody together. Like they got Samuel L. Jackson was the commander of a whole Vietnam unit, and they're supposed to go home, and you almost like feel bad for every single one of them because like they were supposed to go home, and they're not going home. They're going to Skull Island instead, and they meet King Kong, and he doesn't take any prisoners. Starts throwing trees, starts tearing helicopters apart, and he is not like King Kongs of old, where he just kind of like is just smashes it one way. He literally like grabs a helicopter with two hands and just rips it apart. I mean, he takes no prisoners. And then later when he eats the octopus, that was something else. Like I was like, what? He just pulls an octopus, like a giant octopus, out of the water and just starts fighting it and just rips it apart and starts eating it.
He's walking through the water, and all of a sudden this octopus attacks him, and he takes no prisoners, and then tears the octopus up, and he's just having himself some squingili, Hey, like a little spaghetti. He's having his time of his life. He's eating this, and then he's tearing another piece, and he takes the rest for dinner later. It's like, oh my goodness, this is not the King Kong of the past that you used to see. This is not the King Kong of all the other two movies. This is a King Kong, his own definition, his own character.
And that actually kind of brings up with the monster that he fights at the end is like these I think they're called skull crawlers.
Yes.
They're like snake-like bodies with like a skull head, and they have like weird claws or whatever, and their tongue is like tentacles. It must be somebody who must have been watching a lot of Japanese like weird monster movies, not unlike Godzilla. But they actually fight these things in Kong's parents' graveyard, like where they actually end up getting killed. So you see the bones of King Kong's parents, and they also make mention that King Kong is not full size. So he, for him being so big, and he's only like an adolescent, and yet he's kind of got this temper, and he just does what he's got to do, and at the same time, he's not full size.
Yep.
Makes you think like he's going to face off against Godzilla. And that actually is the big spoiler. At the end of the movie, there's the end credits scene where they mention King Kong is not the only big giant monster. He's not the only king. And they show, like, on wall paintings, Godzilla, they show Rodan, they show Mothra, and they actually showed a picture of Rodan, like, from the actual 1956 Rodan movie, with them going into the caves to try and find the Rodan egg. And actually, they were actually looking after the giant insects, but and then they show off like a silhouette of King Ghidorah, and then they go to the black, and it's Godzilla's, the 2014 Godzilla's Roar, which I don't really like. I didn't really like that movie because I felt that it was like the 2014 Godzilla movie was like there was 8 minutes of monster action. This, no, there is tons of monster action. This is like 10 times better than the 2014 Godzilla. So I'm hoping the next Godzilla movie is a lot better, so that King Kong versus Godzilla, which is what they're planning towards for the third movie, is just as good. The only thing is that will they give us more Godzilla this time? But King Kong, he kicks all kinds of.
And then of course you have a full star cast. The writing on the cast is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have John Goodman, who came from being in a comedy type of situation, moves into doing the Boston Marathon movie, and now is now leading the expedition into the Congo, and you can see how much he has developed as an actor. So the storyline,
he's been a good actor for a long time.
The storyline in King Kong actually meets your need, because one of the problems with a lot of these B-class movies is the storyline just basically, let's put it, sucks. Yeah. But here you have a storyline between John Goodman and the various actors and the photographer, and everyone puts it together extremely well, to the point where you come out going, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of felt the same way. At this point now, we're going to stop talking spoilers, and we're just going to give you our overall opinions. We really enjoyed the movie. We really felt that the movie was, like I said, it's slow to start. It gets to a point where, you get to the island, and then as soon as you get to the island, the movie just keeps on going, and it goes for something that completely different than other King Kong movies. It's an enjoyable ride. If you like big monster action movies, you're going to like this movie. I give it a 7 out of 10. I think, what would you say, a 7?
I give it about an 8.
You give it an 8?
I really, because I've watched all the other movies in the past. I have been in one. So I have to say this one, the original Kong, with the World Trade Towers, I'd have to give that about a 5. So this one's about an 8. So we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
So I hope you've enjoyed our video. And if so, like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And I've got lots of more movie reviews, video game reviews, and I definitely got some more Transformers discussions videos. I know a lot of you guys that are my normal subscribers, you guys are waiting for me to make more Transformers discussions. Don't worry, I've got some on the way. And as always, guys, until next time.